I died choking on my own blood, the taste of betrayal metallic on my tongue, as Harlan's voice echoed in my skull like a final gunshot. You built this empire, Cora, but it's mine now. The scalpel he'd slipped into my hand during our reconciliation. Dinner twisted deeper when I realized it was his, poison-laced, meant for me all along. And just like that, the world went black, my $230 million real estate conglomerate crumbling under the weight of his fabricated scandals, leaving my daughter, Lila, orphaned and penniless. But death isn't the end. It's a goddamn reset button, and as my eyes snapped open to the sterile hum of my Manhattan penthouse alarm clock 3 months before that fatal night, I knew Harlan was going to pay, and I'd burn his world to ash before he could touch mine. The first breath back in my body felt like surfacing from a frozen Hudson River, sharp, disorienting, alive. It was July 15th, 2025. The date burned into my brain from the headlines that would later scream my suicide. My reflection in the bathroom mirror stared back. 42 years old, sharp cheekbones, auburn hair pulled into a no-bullshit ponytail, the kind of face that closed deals in boardrooms from Wall Street to Silicon Valley. But my eyes, they were different now. Harder. Forged in the fire of a grave I hadn't earned. Lila was still 18, off at Columbia summer session, oblivious to the storm her mother had weathered and lost. Last time, I'd shielded her from Harlan's venom, thinking loyalty would save us. This time, she'd be my weapon. I didn't waste a second. My phone buzzed with the first notification, an email from Harlan Voss, my co-founder and the snake who'd slithered into my bed a decade ago, promising partnership in Voss and Hale Properties. Darling, let's finalize the merger docs today. Dinner after? The words that once made my heart race now curdled my stomach. Merger? It was a Trojan horse. He'd doctored the contracts to siphon control, framing me for embezzlement with falsified ledgers I'd signed in blind trust. The SEC raid, the tabloid frenzy, real estate queen launders millions. It all spiraled to that rooftop fall. But I remembered every detail. The offshore accounts in the Caymans, the bribed auditors, the whisper campaign to my biggest clients like the Trump Organization knockoffs who bailed when the news hit. I slammed the laptop shut, my fingers itching to rewrite fate. First move, fortify the fortress. I called my lawyer, Elena Vasquez, the pit bull who defended me pro bono in my first life until Harlan bought her out with a Cayman villa. Elena, it's Cora. Pull every merger file from the last 6 months. Audit them yesterday. Her pause on the line was a beat too long. Last time, she'd drag her feet. Cora, Harlan's pushing hard on this. You sure? Surer than I've ever been. And Elena? If you hesitate, you're out. The line went dead, but I could hear the gears turning. Good. Let the paranoia seep in. By noon, I was in the office tower on Park Avenue, the one I'd clawed from a rundown rental into a gleaming monument of glass and steel. Voss and Hale dominated the skyline, our portfolio spanning luxury condos in Brooklyn to commercial strips in Miami. Employees nodded as I strode past, but I saw the fractures now. The sidelong glances from Harlan's loyalists, the interns he'd planted like landmines. My assistant, Marcus, handed me coffee with a grin. Boss, you look fired up. Kid had no idea. Marcus, cancel all client meetings for Harlan this week. Redirect to me. His eyebrows shot up. But now. He scrambled, and I felt the first thrill of power reclaimed, raw and unfiltered, like snorting a line of pure adrenaline. Harlan arrived at 2 p.m., all 6'3" of him in a bespoke Tom Ford suit, that wolfish smile plastered on like it could charm a jury. He leaned against my doorframe, arms crossed, exuding the casual dominance that had hooked me back in our Yale days. Cora, babe, you ghosted my email. What's eating you? I met his gaze, forcing the bile down. Up close, I could smell his cologne. Creed Aventus, the same one that lingered on the paramedics' reports from my autopsy. Just tying up loose ends, Harlan. The merger, it's off. His laugh was a bark, echoing off the walnut panels. Off. We talked about this. It's for us, for Lila's future. He invoked her name like a shield, the bastard. Last life, that line had softened me. This one? It ignited the fuse. I slid the redacted contracts across the desk, the ones I'd had Marcus photocopy and shred the originals for. Read page 47. Your contingencies for control transfer? They're gone. And while you're at it, explain why our Cayman transfers show up as consulting fees to a shell corp named after your mistress. His face didn't crack. Not yet, but I saw the flicker, the micro-twitch in his jaw. What the hell is this, Cora? Some power play. I stood, circling the desk like a shark scenting chum. Power play? This is housekeeping. You think I would notice the audits?
Lie.
I hadn't last time. But now, with Death's clarity, every betrayal was a neon sign. He stepped closer, voice dropping to that intimate timbre he'd weaponized in courtrooms. Listen, we're partners. Lovers. Don't throw this away over paranoia. His hand brushed my arm, and I jerked back, the memory of that poison blade flashing hot. Partners don't forge signatures, Harlan. Or bed interns while plotting board coups. The air thickened, charged like a summer squall over Central Park. He straightened, eyes narrowing to slits. You want to play dirty?
Fine.
But remember, I know your secrets too. My secrets? The one I'd buried deepest. Lila wasn't his. A one-night lapse in Vegas, pre-Harlan, with a ghost from my past. DNA test hidden in my safe. Proof that could unravel his paternal delusions and his claim on her inheritance. As he stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the Picassos on the wall, I exhaled.
Round one, mine.
But Harlan Voss didn't build a $230 million empire by folding at the first bluff. He'd counter, and hard, smear campaigns, leaked emails, maybe even a setup with the feds. I needed allies fast. Lila. She was the wild card, my fierce girl with my brains and a moral compass Harlan could never touch. I texted her. Come home this weekend. Mom needs you. Her reply pinged back. Everything okay? Miss you.
No, baby.
But it will be. That night, alone in the penthouse with the city lights bleeding through blackout curtains, I poured a scotch. Neat, no ice. The way I denied myself in my suicide spiral. The burn grounded me as I pored over files, mapping his web. Client lists, the hedge fund whales in the Hamptons, the tech bros flipping lofts in Soho. Harlan had been poaching them subtly, whining and dining with promises of post-merger perks. I'd counter with truth bombs, discreet warnings, backed by Elena's prelim audits showing his skimming. But controversy was the spice. I'd leak just enough to the Post, frame it as insider whispers, without fingering him outright. Let the sharks circle. Sleep came fitful, haunted by echoes. The courtroom gavel sealing my fraud conviction. Lila sobs at my funeral. Harlan's smug eulogy. Cora was brilliant, but ambition breaks the best of us. Dawn broke gray and relentless, mirroring my resolve. Day 2 of rebirth. Infiltrate his inner circle. I scheduled a team-building retreat at our Hamptons property. Ironic, since that's where he'd first pitched the merger over clams and Chardonnay. Invite list. Key execs but spiked with my plants. And Harlan? Front and center. Thinking it was his stage. The drive out was a blur of I-95 traffic, horns blaring like accusations. Lila called midway, her voice a lifeline. Mom, you sound weird. Like, intense. I laughed, brittle. Just business, kiddo. How's econ? She rambled about supply curves, and for a moment, I was just Cora Hale, soccer mom version, not the avenging specter. But the lie dissolved when we hung up. Ahead lay the weekend, where I'd test loyalties and plant seeds of doubt. Harlan's car was already there when I pulled up, a sleek Tesla mocking the environment we'd greenwashed in ads. He waved from the porch, all faux warmth. Cora, glad you made it. Truce. Truce. The word tasted like arsenic. Inside, the retreat unfolded like a chess match in khakis. Morning yoga on the dunes, me twisting into warrior pose while eyeing his whispers to CFO Jenkins. Lunch, Lobster rolls where I casually dropped audit anomalies, watching Jenkins pale. Harlan deflected with charm, but cracks showed, his laugh too loud, his glances too sharp. By evening bonfire, the group splintered. I pulled Jenkins aside. Tim, off record. Harlan's cooking books. Walk away now or sink with him. His Adam's apple bobbed. Cora, I loyalties. Loyalty to a thief? Think of your 401k. He nodded, slipping away into the shadows. One domino down. Harlan cornered me later, scotch in hand, the firelight carving demons on his face. What the fuck are you doing? Jenkins just texted me, resigning. I sipped my wine, cool as the Atlantic breeze. Tying loose ends, remember? His grip tightened on the glass. This isn't you, Cora. The paranoia, the games, it's destroying us.
Us.
As if we were ever more than his ladder to climb.
No, Harlan.
You destroyed us the day you inked that first forgery. The words hung, a gauntlet thrown. He lunged, not violent but close, fingers digging into my shoulders. You think you can take me down? I've got dirt that'll bury you. The paternity secret. He knew, or suspected. Try me, I whispered, shoving him back. The group pretended not to see, but whispers would spread. Controversy brewed, just as planned. Lila arrived Sunday, a whirlwind of Uggs and determination, hugging me fierce on the driveway.
Mom, spill.
This retreat feels like a funeral. Smart girl. We walked the beach, waves crashing like my pulse, and I tested waters. What if Dad wasn't who he says? Her brow furrowed. Harlan? He's always been shady. Remember the business trips? She air-quoted, eyes knowing. I'd underestimated her. Last life, grief blinded her to his rot. Lila, if things go south, you're my heir. Not him. She stopped, sand shifting underfoot. South how? Trust me. And if I ask you to sign something, anything, do it. Her nod was solemn, a pact sealed in salt air. Back in the city Monday, the backlash hit. Harlan's countermove, a leaked memo to the board, accusing me of erratic behavior and sabotage. Shares dipped 3%, clients jittery. The Post ran a blind item. Power couple implodes, who's poisoning the well? Controversy, thy name is clickbait. I fired back with Elena's report, anonymous drop to Bloomberg. VNH exec faces embezzlement probe. Harlan called, voice venom. You bitch. This ends now.
No, Harlan.
It ends when you do. Week blurred into war. I poached his clients one by one. Dinners at Le Bernardine, where I'd whisper, Harlan's numbers don't add up. Stick with Hale. The hedge fund guy from the Hamptons folded first, transferring $50 million portfolios. Harlan retaliated. Hackers hit our servers, exposing doctored emails from me. Feds knocked polite-like, but I had alibis, paper trails clean as a whistle this time. Lila, bless her, dove in interning for school, but really auditing his side deals. Mom, found this. She texted one night, a screenshot of his mistress's Venmo to a Shell account. Gold. But doubt crept. Was I becoming him? Ruthless, corners cut, lies spun like cotton candy. A board meeting turned bloodbath. Harlan presented evidence of my instability. Therapy notes he'd forged from a real session years back. The room gasped. I countered with a full audit, projections showing his $20 million skim. Chaos erupted, shouts, walkouts. One exec, old-school Bostonian, muttered, "This is Shakespearean bullshit." Laughter rippled, tension cracking. Harlan's face purpled. You're done, Cora. Not yet. That night, alone, I cracked. Tears hot, scotch burning. Lila found me, curling up like she was 10 again. We're Hales. We don't break. Her words anchored me. Twist incoming. The DNA test. I'd mail it anonymously to his lawyer, timed with the SEC tip. But first, the big play, Lila's role. Baby, tomorrow, you sign as junior partner. It locks your shares. Her eyes widened. Against him. For us. The climax brewed in our annual gala at the Met, black tie, A-listers, $230 million empire on display. Harlan and I, arm in arm for the cameras, venom veiled in smiles. Clients mingled, whispers thick as champagne bubbles. Midway, he pulled me aside, breath hot. Truce for the night?
Lies.
His phone buzzed, a text from his PI. Paternity confirmed. Hale's kid ain't yours. Panic flickered. I smiled sweet. Problem. He snarled. You leaked it.
No.
You just lost your leverage. Then, the hook, Lila, radiant in emerald silk, took the stage unannounced. Ladies and gentlemen, as junior partner of Voss and Hale, no, Hale Properties now, I'm thrilled to announce our new client acquisitions. Slides flashed. The poached whales. $150 million locked.
Gasps.
Harlan lunged for the mic, but security, my plants, held him. And one more thing, Lila said, voice steel. My mother's signature today severs all ties with certain unethical elements. The contract projected, merger voided, his shares diluted to dust. One signature, mine, inked that morning, collapsed it all. Chaos. Harlan roared. This is fraud. Fed swarmed. My anonymous tip, airtight. He thrashed as cuffs clicked, empire evaporating in flashes. Clients bolted to me, to us. Twist. The DNA? A decoy. Real secret? Lila knew everything, had for years, from my drunken confessions last life. She'd forged the test herself, a teen hacker's prank-turned weapon. Payback for calling me your mistake, she whispered later, hugging me amid the wreckage. We rebuilt, mother and daughter, Hale Properties soaring to $300 million by year's end. Harlan rotted in Rikers, trial a circus of his own lies.
Me?
I lived, fiercer. The betrayer betrayed. Death taught mercy's a luxury, survival demands teeth. And in America's cutthroat coliseum, we bared ours. The fallout from the gala hit like a nor'easter, relentless, whipping the city into a frenzy. By dawn, my inbox overflowed, Bloomberg headlines screaming, Voss empire crumbles, co-founder's daughter delivers knockout blow. Harlan's mugshot trended on X, memes of him in orange jumpsuits captioned, from penthouse to penniless. Lila and I holed up in the penthouse, takeout ties scattered like confetti, screens glowing with the wreckage. She scrolled, giggling. Look, Mom, Cora Hale, the queen who ate her king. I clinked my water glass to hers. Sober now, no more escapes. To eating kings. But victory tasted bittersweet, laced with the what-ifs. What if I'd seen his rot sooner? What if Lila had grown up without his shadow? Sleep evaded me that night, the penthouse too quiet without his snoring or scheming. Instead, I paced the balcony, Hudson winds tangling my hair, replaying the night's blur, his desperate grab for the mic, the crowd's pivot from shock to schadenfreude. America's favorite sport, watching the mighty fall. Yet doubt not. Had I gone too far? The feds had probable cause on the embezzlement, sure, but the paternity leak. Lila's hack could boomerang if traced. Controversy clung like humidity, whispers of Hale's dirty tricks already bubbled in anonymous forums. Morning brought Elena, bearing croissants and contracts. Cora, you're a hurricane. But cleanup's key, rebrand fast, before the stink sticks. She outlined the pivot. Hale Properties, solo banner. Lila as VP. We'd shed Voss's toxic assets. The Miami strip malls riddled with his kickbacks like snakeskin. Clients poured in, lured by stability and spite. The hedge fund whale even sent orchids to the women who rewrite rules. Lila dove in, her dorm room swapped for an office overlooking Bryant Park. This beats microeconomics, she quipped, fingers flying over spreadsheets. Pride swelled. My girl, not broken, but battle-hardened. Harlan's trial loomed, a spectacle set for September in federal court downtown. His lawyers spun narratives, framed by a vengeful ex, painting me as Lady Macbeth in Louboutins. Tabloids ate it up, real estate wars, betrayal, babies, and billions. I testified first, voice steady under fluorescent glare, laying out the forgeries, the schemes, the Cayman trails. Jurors, blue-collar mix from Queens, leaned in, eyes hungry for the drama. Harlan glowered from the defense table, gaunt in his ill-fit suit, that once charming grin twisted to a snarl. Cross-exam. Ms. Hale, isn't it true you manipulated your daughter for control? I locked eyes.
No.
I armed her against a liar. The gallery murmured. A woman in the back nodded fierce. Lila's turn gutted me. She took the stand in pearls and power suit, 18 going on 40. Harlan Voss wasn't my father, not biologically, not morally. Gasps rippled. His lawyer objected, but the judge, a no-nonsense Latina from the Bronx, overruled. Lila detailed the hack, not as crime but confession. He called me a bargaining chip in voicemails. I just equalized. The prosecution entered exhibits, his recordings, slurred rants post-scotch. Jurors winced. One wiped tears. Harlan shattered, head in hands, the empire builder reduced to a husk. Verdict: guilty on all counts, wire fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. 20 years, no parole. As marshals led him out, he twisted back. You'll rot alone, Cora. I met his gaze, unblinking. I have her. That's enough. Post-trial glow faded quick. Fall leaves turned Central Park crimson, mirroring the blood-eyed metaphorically spilled. Hale properties boomed. New deals in Austin tech parks, Brooklyn co-living for millennials, but shadows lingered. Anonymous threats, emails with my old suicide notes, Dr. to taunt. Harlan's loyalists? A disgruntled ex-VP sued for wrongful termination, dredging affair rumors. Media twisted. Hale's revenge, triumph or tyranny? Pundits on CNBC debated my ruthlessness, feminists cheering while bros decried corporate castration. Controversy fueled growth. Book deals pitched, podcasts begging for my rebirth story. I declined. Some scars stay private. Lila noticed the cracks. Over Thanksgiving turkey, just us, no Voss ghosts, she probed. Mom, you're jumping at shadows. Therapy. I laughed, carving the bird. From the girl who hacked a DNA lab? She sobered. That was kid stuff.
This.
You're carrying ghosts. She was right. Nights I'd jolt awake, tasting blood, Harlan's whisper. It's mine now. Rebirth hadn't erased the trauma. It amplified it. I booked a shrink, discreet, uptown, unloading the impossible. Death, return, the moral tightrope of revenge. Was it justice or vendetta? I asked one session. Doc leaned back. Both. America's built on it, frontier feuds in boardrooms. Winter hit hard, snow blanketing the city like absolution. Lila aced finals, eyeing Harvard Law. I greenlit her gap year to run our LA expansion. Your empire now, I told her at Kennedy, hugging fierce amid the chaos. Build better. Her flight boarded, and loneliness crashed, penthouse echoing, deals blurring into monotony. Then the twist no timeline prepared me for a letter, postmarked Rikers. Harlan. No threats, just confession. I didn't poison you, Cora. It was Elena. She flipped for my offer. Your loyal lawyer. Check the autopsy addendum. Heart hammered.
Elena?
The villa bribe real. But murder? I dug. Elena's number blocked since the split. Call anyway. Voicemail. Then, news alert. Prominent attorney Elena Vasquez found dead. Apparent overdose. Panic clawed. Autopsy? I FOIA'd it. Old case files surfacing. Trace fentanyl in the blade. Untraced last life amid the suicide rush. Elena's text to Harlan, buried in discovery. It's done. Pay up. Betrayal layered on betrayal. My pitbull, collared by the wolf. Guilt twisted. Had my pressure pushed her over? Or was it his venom all along? Lila flew back, piecing it with me over wine, hers virgin. Mom, you couldn't know.
But.
We expose it. I shook head. Let sleeping dogs lie. Justice served. Ghosts buried. Spring thawed the ice. Hale Properties cresting $300 million. Eco-luxury in Hudson Yards. Lila's brainchild. We launched at a gala. Her at the podium, me in the crowd, tears pricking.
To second chances, she toasted.
Cheers erupted. I slipped out, balcony calling. City hummed below. Alive, mine. Harlan's empire dust. Mine, a phoenix. But rebirth's cost? Trust shattered, edges honed lethal. Worth it? In America's arena, where wolves wear suits, yes. I'd die again before letting them win. Yet, as stars pierced the smog, a final whisper. Was this end, or just intermission? Lila joined me, arm linked. Penny. Just grateful. We leaned, mother-daughter fortress. Happy? Close enough. In the land of second acts, we scripted ours, flawed, fierce, forever. Summer scorched Manhattan, humidity thick as unresolved grudges, but Hale Properties thrived in the heat. Lila's LA pivot paid off, vineyard estates for Silicon refugees, $80 million locked in escrow. She FaceTimed from Rodeo Drive, wind-tousled, grin wide. Mom, we're golden out here. Send caviar. I laughed, but envy nipped. Not for glamour, but youth's unscarred stride. At 43, rebirth bonus, I felt the miles, boardroom battles etching lines, nights replaying Elena's overdose splash page. Cops ruled suicide, pills and regret, but I knew better. Harlan's reach, even caged, or her own noose of guilt. I'd visited her grave once, upstate plot anonymous as her betrayal.
Why?
I'd whispered to granite. No answer, just wind through pines. Business sharpened my edges further. A rival firm, Voss's old cronies, poached a Miami deal, undercutting with whispers of my instability. I countered aggressive. Hostile bid. Elena's old tactics turned on them. Board balked. Too cutthroat, Cora. Lila, visiting for July 4th fireworks, backed me. Let M bleed. We watched bursts over the East River from a yacht. Reds, blues exploding like verdicts. You're my mirror, I told her, Prosecco fizzing. Smarter edition. She snorted.
Nah.
You're the original badass. Fireworks faded. So did doubts. Family wasn't blood. It was chosen fire. But ghosts resurfaced in August, a manila envelope unmarked on my desk. Inside, photos, me, post-death, blurred funeral candid.
Back, scrawl, she rises. He falls.
But who pulls strings? Paranoia spiked. Harlan's doing or Elena's loose end. I hired PIs, the kind who dig dirt for senators. Trail led to a low-rent operative in Queens, Harlan's prison whisper network. Interrogation yielded tears. He said expose the truth. Your miracle come back. Make M doubt. Doubt me? As fraud? The narrative twisted. Tabloids speculated Hale's staged demise for insurance. Laughable, but shares dipped 2%, clients hedged. Crisis meeting. War room vibe, coffee stale. Lila stormed in from the airport, jet-lagged but fierce. We fight fire with flood. Full transparency. Presser tomorrow. Risky. Expose the impossible? No. Spin the rumors as smears. Podium at Hale HQ. Cameras flashing like paparazzi hounds. Ladies and gents, let's cut the BS. Boss tried to bury me once. Won't work twice. I detailed the fraud, the trial, Elena's shadow, vague on murder, but enough to redirect fury. This is America. Rebuild or rot. Questions flew. Ms. Hale, the photos?
Fakes.
Like his empire. Lila flanked me, nodding. Crowd aided. Stocks rebounded by close.
Twist deepened that week.
PI called. One more thread, Cora. The blade? Bought by your old Yale flame, Jack Riley.
Jack.
The Vegas ghost, Lila's bio dad. A venture ghost I'd ghosted post-night. Heart stuttered. Why? Harlan hired him years back to seduce, sabotage. But Jack flipped, tipped Elena instead. Layers peeled. Betrayal inception. My one night a setup. Rage boiled, but clarity followed. Jack, unwitting pawn turned ally. I tracked him. Silicon Valley now, green tech mogul. Call connected, voice gravelly, familiar. Cora? Christ, it's you. Confession poured. Regret, Harlan's bribe, the blade his final out rejected. I owed you. Poison was his madness. Reunion in Napa, Lila in tow, blind date vibe. Awkward as hell. Jack, silver-foxed at 45, eyes kind over Cabernet. I bailed after Vegas. Coward move. Lila grilled. You knew?
He winced.
Suspected. Harlan's paranoia. Air cleared slow, no romance reboot, but alliance forged. His firm partnered ours, sustainable builds, $100 million synergy. Lila bonded quick. Uncle Jack slipping easy. Family 2.0, she joked.
Me?
Wary but thawing. Rebirth meant chances, not chains. Fall gilded the year, leaves crunching under Louboutins as Hale hit $350 million, global now, Dubai whispers. Harlan appealed from Rikers, motion denied in a footnote. His confession letter? Burned, ashes scattered in the Hudson. Elena's villa sold at auction, proceeds to a women's shelter, my quiet amends. Lila chose Stanford over Harvard, Jack's Alma, gap year extended. Building legacies, she texted from Palo Alto. Pride ached sweet. One night, gala season redux at MoMA, I stood amid Warhols, scotch in hand. Earned now. Clients toasted. Jack clinked glasses. To rising. Lila across the room, locked eyes, my anchor. No hooks left, no shocks. Just quiet command. The Empire? Ours, uncollapsible. Betrayal's sting faded to scar, reminder. In America's grind, trust sparse, but revenge? A hell of a teacher. I'd loop time again, if needed, for her for this. But death whispered once. Enough. Live, Cora.
Thrive.
And so I did, queen of my Colosseum, daughter at my side, twists unraveled. Happy ending? In jagged fairy tales, yes. The signature that felled him?
Just the start.
Ours built empires eternal.